It takes more than sweet ASCII drawings in your code comments to be a great engineer. This is Soft Skills Engineering, episode 248. I'm your host, Dave Smith.
I'm your host, Jamison Dance.
Soft Skills Engineering is a weekly advice podcast for software developers about all the non-tech stuff. And this week's episode, every digit is a power of 2.
Whoa, we're getting closer to 256 too.
We are.
Another bit.
One more
another
bit.
Day, another bit.
That's right. Yep. We're 6 weeks away from saturating 8 bits in our episode numbers. Not 8 bits. Wait.
I want to thank our patrons.
Yes, 8 bits.
Oh.
Don't you dare thank those patrons while I'm thinking about bitwise math.
Dave, we would have no way of knowing. It's impossible. Give it up.
Okay, I was right. Sorry. Ooh, it's been a long time since I've worried about powers of 2 values, but I kind of just had this moment of fear that I had forgotten how many bits are in 256. I used to think about it every day, 15 years ago.
Yeah. It's like when a golfer starts getting the yips.
What is that?
You don't know what the yips are?
No.
It's like old man golfer disease. Okay. I don't know if it's a real medical condition, but when golfers get older, they get shakier and it messes up their stroke. So you just notice, you like jerk the putter or something. I'm not sure.
What's it called when your pinky has a tremor and shakes because you've held your smartphone and stared at Twitter for too long? Twitter yips?
The Twitter yips.
That's what I have.
I have smartphone related repetitive stress injuries.
As do I.
But unironically, actually, truly in real life, I do.
Yeah, me too. I actually went to a hand therapist. Life-changing, I'll say.
I want my life changed. But first, I want to read these patron names.
Okay,
Thank you to the folks who are supporting us at the level where we shout them out every single week. Thank you to Nick Cantor, the Agile Ventures Charity, Chris Hogan, Braden Kane, Stephen Armandley, Philip John Basile, John Grant, Dennis Bogdanov, Travis Saunders, Nick Hathaway, Oladapo Fadie, Karen Svensson, Ragnar Harrison, Christian Polanco, Roman Denisov, FizzBuzz Influencer, Adrian Bordnick, and testingisdocumenting.org. Thank you to those folks. Thank you to everybody else who has supported us. You keep the show going. You pay for the stuff that the show needs. It turns out it needs stuff, and you pay for it, which is what I just said, but
that's right.
Switched around.
We have needs. You have dollars. Let's get together.
Yeah. And because these people did, they get invited to our Slack group, team, channel, community, org.
We used to say cult, but I think that was insensitive, so we stopped. Until today.
Yeah. I've decided to not worry about offending the cult members.
Yeah.
What are they going to do?
Yeah.
Draw creepy signs on my grass? And okay, that does sound bad.
That was not an invitation, by the way.
If you want to join this illustrious group, you can go to softskills.audio and click support us on Patreon and then get an invite and help support the show. Thank you.
All right. Shall I read our first question?
Yep.
Okay. This comes from an anonymous listener who says, our engineering manager keeps sneaking/creeping on our private Slack channels. As an admin of the workspace, he can join any private Slack channel without being invited. I feel like this is an unacceptable behavior. What should I do? Should I just reach out to him and ask him not to abuse his admin privileges? Should I set up a Discord server for me and my fellow developers? Or should I take the soft skills engineering advice and quit my job?
Have you heard the term shadow IT?
I think I've heard you say it.
Oh, well, I'm going to repeat myself, I guess. It's the idea that your company has some IT policies like use this software, don't use this software.
Mm-hmm.
And there's this shadow black market ecosystem of software that people use instead. Like, say everyone is supposed to use Google Drive, but you really like Dropbox. I don't know. Like, you'll figure out some way to use Dropbox. And this is usually said in a bad way as like you need to get rid of shadow IT by providing better services.
Okay.
But in this case, I think this is a strong case for some shadow IT of a different way to talk to all of your work folks without your boss being able to join.
Didn't we find out years ago that terrorists were using like the chat feature built into certain online video games to plan their destruction?
What? I don't know, but I'll find out if Google can tell me.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a great idea in this situation. You could all be on I don't know what's popular now. Minecraft? You could all just be on Minecraft all the time and chatting with each other in there.
Yeah, it's good because it doesn't have voice chat, so you can't swear at each other verbally, just with text or with blocks.
I guess you could write things in blocks.
You could, yeah.
If your IT department disables the chat feature in Minecraft.
Yeah. What? How ISIS terrorists may have used PlayStation 4?
There you go.
All right. Maybe it happened.
Put it in the show notes. That's crucial information.
I found it linked on Google, and that's good enough for me. So we did this at a previous job. We just set up an IRC channel and relied on security through obscurity. I don't think it was private. It was just like, you probably won't guess this name on this random chat software that nobody told you we use.
Yep.
So if it's work related, you should talk about it in Slack. If you want to like complain about work with your friends, I've done that before, not on work run chat mediums.
Yeah.
Turns out they exist.
You could create like a subreddit just for your team.
Yeah, you should figure out what's the most conspicuous way you could do it that still prevents somebody from finding it.
Right.
Like buy domain names to send messages to each other or something like that.
In the DNS text field.
Yeah, DNS text field. That would be great. I wonder if, someone's done like Telnet Star Wars. I wonder if someone's done DNS TXT record Star Wars.
Chat over DNS TXT. I love that. That's a great idea.
Wasn't there, there's some company, Replit, that released some new feature. Somehow it exposed logs of requests people were making to their service, and people turned it into a chat room where they would send arbitrary requests that would like have ASCII art in them and their message, and someone built clients for it.
So this was like, it was an inadvertent disclosure, right? The logs were leaking.
I didn't read it, so first of all, ignore me. But second of all, okay. I'm pretty sure it was some feature they did on purpose, and they showed somehow like, check it out, you can see the logs.
Okay. I see.
And then people turned it into something cooler.
And so you could basically build a chat client by uploading code to repl.it with like console.log commands in it, and then capture the output somehow?
No. You would just like send a GET request somewhere, and the URL is like the message that would show up in the log, because it would show someone made a request to this endpoint.
Okay. Got it. I don't know what it is about me. I love it when developers find unintended uses for things. I don't know. It just makes me happy.
It's like a Rube Goldberg machine, but not in the bad way like you did it wrong at work, in the fun, good way that you did it to entertain yourself.
Exactly. It's like fun. But you want to know when I hate it?
When?
When my customers do it. Because now I have an implicit contract that I must never break.
Like, it turns out that any file storage you ever offer to anyone will immediately get used to store torrented videos.
Yeah, exactly. It's kind of like in that theme.
And this is a way you can like upload your like tax records to share with each other, and then bam, somebody uploads season 5, episode 6 of Game of Thrones immediately.
Exactly.
Great.
Next thing you know, the MPAA is knocking on your door.
Yeah.
Oh man. Yeah, exactly. Anyway, back to the question at hand. How do I boot my boss out of my private Slack channels? Oh man, why does he do this?
Yeah, that's gross. So there are private Slack channels at the place I work.
Okay.
But they're very easy to get invited to. It's basically like everyone that ever works with the team gets added to them.
Okay.
I'm sure there are private Slack channels that I can't see, but I don't care. I mean, a tree has fallen in the forest and I didn't hear it, so it doesn't matter. I'm wondering what your engineering manager is trying to do, right? Are they monitoring for bad behavior somehow? Are they trying to figure out if you're actually slacking off and not working? Like, I know that people on my team are playing StarCraft. I think it's cool.
Yeah.
Play on.
I didn't have to sneak in to find that out.
Yeah, they invited me.
I can tell by the fact that you haven't produced any code in 3 weeks. You and I are both engineering managers at this point, and I can barely keep up with the channels that I am invited to.
Yeah, that's a good point. Maybe they don't have enough work to do.
Yeah. Maybe you as a team are doing too good of a job and there's nothing to manage. So he's out there looking.
Yeah, make some fires. That'll also make them look good because they'll be able to solve the problem.
Yeah.
This giant, scary problem will pop up and then they'll be able to be the hero.
Yeah. I mean, it'll take their attention away from Slack trolling, Slack lurking.
Honeypot channels. You need to make some honeypot channels.
Yes.
Get them to join them.
Love it.
See if you can is this what they did with honeypots? You like drop information in that channel and see if your manager brings it up in some other context where the only place you put it was this channel that you're trying to get them to sneakily listen in on.
And then you'll find out if they were actually reading it. Some little interesting nugget that you know would be valuable to share in a meeting that you're in with that same manager, and see if they say it. But that's just a detection mechanism, and you already have a detection mechanism.
I guess you already know. Yeah.
Yeah, you can just look at the member list. But I think the word, so I've heard of honey pots, honey pits, and tar pits. So a honey pot is like an attractive target for a hacker that has, it's like a fake exploitable machine on the internet. And then a honey pit, actually, I don't know what a honey pit is. Let's skip the tar pit. Wait, no, tar pit doesn't exist. It is honey pit. Honey pit, I'm pretty sure. I'm not going to Google this. I'm just going to look stupid and leave it out there. But a honey pit is where you're trying to trick bots into wasting their time traversing endless URLs and links to each other, right? And so it basically consumes resources of people that are out there harvesting email addresses and doing other nefarious things with bots. This is like a 20-year-old concept, by the way. I don't know if it's still in use anymore.
Nowadays, they call it a tar pit. Back in the day, maybe they called it a honey pit.
Dang it, my instinct was right the first time.
I know, you should have stuck with it. So bring it on home. Now we know about tar pits and honey pots.
I'm saying create a tar pit of Slack channels with all this bot traffic in there that just burns up your boss's time trying to find the real Slack channels, which are intermingled.
Yeah. You could even just invite randos from the internet, right?
To join your Slack teams.
Yeah, just you need noise in there. Find some.
Create like a fantasy novel discussion group.
Yeah, a group of acquaintances that are playing that one online Final Fantasy game. Move away from Discord. Use my company's Slack. It stores logs forever and has voice chat for free.
And as a side benefit to me, my boss will never find my messages again.
Yep.
You could, here's what you do. Every week, you have a rotating private Slack channel name that changes based on a hash of the day of the year and the year, and so it's constantly shifting like an Enigma machine from World War II Germany.
Yeah.
And so your boss is always trying to break the code because he doesn't know what salt you used every day. That'd be awesome.
Yeah. So you switch to a new channel on a regular interval.
Yeah, using a secret key as your hash.
All of these will work.
Yes.
Pick any one of them. I do think it's fair to ask, what are you trying to do? I feel like in a small enough org, I would just make all channels public.
Yeah.
Maybe that's an option. And then you can just say, there's not this expectation of privacy that we are destroying by having this manager creep on stuff. But it also does sound like they're trying to gather information in a way that's making the team feel bad. Might have some unintended consequences. Why don't they just ask you their questions?
I mean, let's be perfectly honest. Your boss has every right to be in private Slack channels with you. I mean,
yeah, that's true. That's like a feature of Slack.
Yeah.
Like admins can see all the messages.
I mean, maybe he doesn't even think it's surreptitious. So, I don't know.
That is a feature of Slack, right? I just assume it is.
Yeah, I mean, everything's persisted forever. Who do you think's not going to read this? As an individual contributor, would you feel weird going to your manager saying, "Hey, how come you're looking at our Slack channels?" Like that seems like a weird question to ask. Like, of course your manager's looking at your Slack channels.
Yeah, I mean, if you made a Slack channel called "My Boss Really Sucks," then it's going to be awkward to say, "Hey, why are you looking at my Slack channel called My Boss Really Sucks?" And then your boss will say, "Why did you make a Slack channel called My Boss Really Sucks?"
And then even if you have a more innocent Slack channel name, still the boss's question is like, "Why do you have a channel where you don't want your boss in there?" Yeah, I mean, this just it turns around fast, in my opinion. So I don't know. I feel like it's fine for your boss to be there. If I were your boss, I would not want to be in a Slack channel where people didn't know I was in there.
Yeah, I work for a really big company, and I have no expectation of privacy on any text I ever send over the company systems. I just assume that anyone at any time will be able to pull it out, and like, it might be inconvenient for me sometimes when someone finds the dumb typos I made, or I might get in trouble for, I don't know, starting rumors that so-and-so isn't, can't think of something dumb enough. Someone's Tesla is fake. It's actually this carbon fiber body kit they put on a little Geo Metro.
Yeah. No, it has to be like a really fuel inefficient car.
That Cybertruck is actually a Hummer.
It gets 4 miles to the gallon.
Yeah, they'll find out my Machiavellian plan to turn the company against this person by starting rumors about how inefficient their electric car is. But if I wanted to have private conversations, I would do it privately. That's not Slack.
Yep.
Except for our Slack, because we don't pay for it, so we can't get the logs.
Oh, that's true. Wait, is that true? I've never tried.
I'm pretty sure we can't.
Yeah,
I
I'm
don't
sure
know.
they
I
would.
guess I haven't tried either, but
Yeah.
I think that's a pay
Yeah,
feature.
that's true. We have a Slack community. It's all occurs to me. Maybe this question is actually about us.
That's true. Well, I don't know. I don't know if they're private channels I can't join. We don't pay. So
Yeah, I don't
no way
know.
to know.
I don't know.
All right. Have we answered the question?
I think so. To summarize, I would say your boss has every business or every right to be in your private Slack channels. And why did you think otherwise? And should I set up a Discord server? Yeah, that'd be fun. You should do that.
Yeah, sure. All right. Question answered. I will read our next question. Thank you guys for your awesome podcast. I have recently begun my foray into management with the reception of my first subordinate. I selected him due to his illustrious undergraduate project presentation and his ability to expound on the intricacies of said projects. But I'm having a hard time managing my expectations. He is unable to complete the simplest of tasks, often going off on tangents that, despite being given the answer, result in spending hours in unrelated rabbit holes. Additionally, he asked for a high salary and was promised an increase scheduled ahead of review. As a first-time manager, I worry that I'm inflicting unrealistic expectations, especially since software is my passion. I enjoy learning new languages and technologies. What is the best way to let him know that he is not meeting expectations? How can I say this without my typical brashness, which will ultimately result in me blurting out something to the tune of, "You aren't nearly as capable as you made yourself out to be"? Software is my passion. I always think of graphic design as my passion. Yeah, have you seen these, Dave? It's a meme about design that will sound really dumb when I say it out loud, so
As memes do.
I'll stop saying it. Yeah. Okay, never mind.
Oh, come on, just
Forget
say it. It'll be great.
No, I mean, I did. Like, that's
Oh.
it. That's all it is. It's
Okay.
just it's like a crappy rainbow background that says with graphic design is my passion on it. It's someone's fake joke portfolio.
I like it.
So I guess the software equivalent would be like software is my passion, and it's like, I don't know what it would be. Some like
Books about functional programming, I think.
No, it'd have to be something that clearly demonstrates it is not your passion or you're really bad at it. But all the things I can think of would be hard to do or demonstrate that you knew what you were doing, kind
Right.
of. I don't know. It's impossible. Software can't be your passion. That's the summary.
That's right. Not in the meme space anyway.
You cannot translate this into a program. Actually, I'm sure you can, and I want our listeners to tell us how we would do it.
Okay.
I also like the illustrious undergrad project presentation.
Yeah.
And it makes me think of like illustrated manuscripts for some reason,
Okay.
where so there's like a PowerPoint slide and it's got this giant hand-drawn like E at the beginning of the letter of the sentence instead of Helvetica.
Oh yeah, like an Old English letter.
Yeah, I don't know, maybe he's dressed in a tunic
Okay.
or a doublet of some sort.
Okay.
Fanfare. I don't know. Illustrious undergraduate project presentation.
That's what makes it illustrious in your mind?
I think so.
Is like fancy lettering.
Fancy lettering, elegant garb,
Yeah.
and a fake British accent.
Of course.
Or if they're from the UK, then I'm not sure what you would do.
Yeah, now what? Where do you go? You can't go up from there.
Yeah, you got to turn it country.
No.
And wear a farmer hat and boots. And what's higher status than cowboys in England? Nothing.
No.
That's if
Clearly.
there's one thing I know about English culture, it's that.
I don't remember if this was a conversation with you, but where you or someone who reminds me of you was talking to a British person and just saying, have you noticed that whenever British people speak, Americans think they're automatically intelligent just by their accent? And the British person says, yeah, I've heard that before. And then the American says, do British people think the same about Americans? And the British person just cracked up, just started laughing. Gosh, no. Heavens, no.
Good heavens! Oh, man. It's so
How
funny.
daft.
All right. So all the help's out of the way.
Yep.
Got that out of the way. Now
Down to business.
help round 2.
How do you tell a brand new engineer out of school that they are not performing, that they're completely distracted, not producing anything, but you're also worried that you might have an inflated expectation of what a new hire out of college should be doing?
Yeah. Have you ever worked with any other new hires as a peer? This is their first person they're managing, it sounds like, but I wonder if they have any experience just comparing them to other folks they work
Yeah.
side by side with.
Yeah, and this particular question asker is concerned about comparing the new person with themselves because they consider themselves to be kind of a high passion, or as I was once accused of being hyperactive engineer who, true story. Maybe some other time. And so the baseline is all screwed up. Like maybe I'm just overly ambitious and
maybe I'm just too good.
Yeah, maybe I'm just fan-freaking-tastic. No one can measure up next to me.
Yeah. So you shouldn't compare people to yourself. You should compare people to some impossible to create, but theoretical objective expectation of performance.
Yes. Use that standard.
Yeah. Well, it is impossible. I don't know. I don't
Of course
think I've
it
ever
is.
seen. No one knows how to measure this stuff. But you should be able to have something besides this person doesn't do what I do to judge and evaluate them.
Well, the way that human beings tend to do this at scale and as objectively as possible is by bringing in unbiased observers to make comments on it. People who don't have a horse in the race and who can objectively measure, because of some level of expertise, what they think is a good performance. And then you come to consensus. And that's pretty much, I think, the only way we've ever really tried to tackle the objectivity problem of measuring performance in software.
So you're saying get an opinion from somebody else?
That's right. And the way that I've seen performance appraisals done really well is where managers actually don't form an opinion themselves, but rather they collect opinion data, if you will. Data is probably too strong of a word, but
opinion facts, opinion truth.
Maybe the term is data points. They collect data points from other individuals who have vantage into this person's work, and then they form an opinion from those collected data points. But you have to be careful what you choose. But anyway, long story short, yeah, you are right to question your own ability to measure this person's direct performance as a first-time manager.
Yeah. I think you need to take the personal stuff away from it completely, though. Like you can't talk about how you would spend your time to make up for these mistakes by studying more outside of work or something like that. It doesn't matter what they do outside of work. It matters what they're producing. You should be able to have some rough idea of like, this is a small, easy task and I'd expect it to take a day or so, and it took you like 2 weeks and you got really stuck on it. And that's not our expectations. It's to do that faster. I think you have to tell them too. And a performance, an increase scheduled ahead of review. So you're saying that means we'll hire you, and then at this date you'll get an increase without any conditions on it? Is that what you think this is, Dave?
I think what they're saying is that normally they would be scheduled for a review and salary adjustment at a certain time, probably 12 months from hire, but that they decided in this case, part of the offer to entice this person to join the company was that they would do an accelerated review at, let's just say, the 6-month point instead.
Yeah.
With a target based on performance. And that's pretty common offer language.
So I've had a situation kind of like this happen to me where I was really, really excited about a candidate, and then the performance after we hired them just did not at all match my high expectations given how great the interviewing process went. Mm-hmm. And boy, did I feel dumb.
Oh, really?
Maybe that's the root of all of my interviewing evaluation nihilism is
that one instance.
Yeah. Like I was convinced this person will come in and be amazing. And we made some accommodations for them, some similar stuff like this around salary. And it's pretty awkward to go back and say, hey, like, you know how you negotiated really hard and we gave you extra stuff?
Well,
you're barely hanging on. And we wish we didn't do that.
That is awkward. And that's why it's so important to... I just love that you had this experience, actually. That now you know, like...
Now I love it, yeah.
No, well, how long ago was this?
I don't know. It
was a couple weeks ago.
Years?
Okay.
A couple weeks ago. It's from the future.
Isn't it great, though? Because I've had this experience, too, where it opens you up to blind spots in your own interview process where you say, oh, I wish I had thought to ask X, where X is whatever bad behavior or knowledge gap or behavioral problem this person has.
Yep. So next time, that'll help you.
Yep.
This time it will not.
That's right.
Yeah, I think you got to tell him the closer it is to when he expects to get his scheduled raise, the worse it's going to be, I think.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, if the performance is bad enough, earlier is always better in performance feedback like this. So
yes,
if it's not conditional on his performance, then you're in trouble because it should be, and you might have to make it conditional on his performance when he's not expecting it to be. But if it is, then you need to clearly communicate, hey, you're not conditioning it. It's conditional on performance, and you're not doing it.
You're not putting in the conditioner that we
Yep.
needed. Just speak in obscure metaphors. I'm sure it'll be fine.
What's the best way to let him know?
What is the best way to let him know? I think as a manager, especially as a first-time manager, it does behoove you to get a second opinion on this before you rush in and say, you're not meeting my expectations.
Mm-hmm.
Get that data point, explain as objectively as possible, explain the situation, and be darn sure you haven't missed some nuance, because software engineering is nuanced. And a lot of times, as a manager, the whole point of being a manager is that you can abstract away some of the details of the day-to-day work and become a force multiplier and let other people work and work through them to accomplish things. But sometimes what that means is that you don't have perspective on the unique challenges of the tasks that you've assigned the individual. And so they might have a really good reason why it took a long time, and you should give them a chance to explain that. But in this case, it looks like the manager's got pretty clear vantage, and the person's just kind of spending time off on tangents, learning things,
Yeah.
I kind of feel bad for just using a mocking tone and saying learning things. You don't learn things after school. Learning?
What do you think this is?
Yeah. Jeez.
We don't pay you to learn.
Yeah. Anyway, so that was dumb. But let's just say I would get a second opinion, and then I think I want to reinforce what Jamison said. It's never too early to give feedback, and it's very easy to be too late. The last thing you want is this person walking into their 6-month review that you specially arranged for them to find out, no, for the last 6 months, you have not been meeting my expectations.
Yeah.
And the first thing they're going to think is, well, I wish you had told me so I could have worked on it.
Yeah. A useful framework I've heard and experienced for giving negative feedback like this is situation, behavior, impact.
Okay.
So you explain what the situation where the thing happened was. Like in this case, it'd be, I gave you this task. It was laid out clearly this way, and it had these, expectations and requirements. The behavior is you went on this rabbit hole. You spent hours solving unrelated problems that don't relate to the task and won't really help us. And the impact is now we're going to miss this deadline, or this other person had to stay late or whatever. If you break it down like that, then instead of just saying like you're too slow, that's vague and hard to respond to, and also hard to correct, right? If someone told me go faster, I would cry first, but then after I wiped my tears away, then I'd wonder, like, what does that mean? Like, how do I I guess I'll figure it out.
Like type faster? Like what?
Yeah. Talk faster?
Yeah.
I already go really fast when I sprint from my bed when I wake up in the morning to my chair to sit down to work.
I don't know how much faster you could go without injuring yourself.
Yeah, that'd be unsafe. I can't have that.
I love what you just said, and this actually reminds me of a situation from a few seconds ago where there was a situation where you had a question from a listener, and you answered it very succinctly, and the impact was that I didn't have anything to say, and I like that.
Our witty repartee was damaged, and then the listeners all dropped, and then we spiraled down from there.
This was the peak. This was the moment it all went downhill.
Yep. It all turned around.
No, I was using the situation behavior impact pattern to give you a compliment and say that you were meeting expectations.
Oh, thank you. That's a good point. You can use it to give compliments, and specific compliments are really helpful too.
Absolutely.
For some people, a generic great job there sport is kind of demeaning, but if you tell them more specifically, it makes them feel better.
For sure.
One other thing I wanted to say, you will probably suck at this. You'll probably mess it up. Okay. And if you don't, that's rad. But this is not a comfortable or normal thing for lots of software developers to do. So you might have to go into it knowing that you'll try your best, but you might muddle through it a little bit. And that's okay. And this is a skill you get better with time and practice, just like anything else.
And don't worry, because this person's brand new out of college and they don't have any baseline to compare you against. So they won't know if you're doing a good or bad job.
You will feature prominently in their career narrative.
Yes,
everybody's got stories about that one person, and isn't it good to know you'll be remembered?
Yeah, you'll be remembered one way or another.
Yeah, I just know I can pick out people who I'm like, that person tells stories about me, and they don't sound very good.
Yeah. Those are the voices you go to sleep at night thinking every night.
Yep. Shoot, I failed. No one can tell stories about me that aren't great.
Yeah.
Have we answered the question?
I think so.
Best of luck.
Good luck.
What can people do if they want their own questions answered?
Go to softskills.audio and click Ask a Question where you can fill out our form. And we just want to say thank you to all the people who do that every week. We really appreciate all these great questions. We will one day answer them all.
Some days we get closer because we answer more than we get. Some days we get further behind, but we haven't stopped the show yet. So
let me just say it's been a long time since we've answered more than we get.
That's true. Some bad stuff has to happen to lower the question volume for us to catch up.
Yeah.
But we're committed to it.
Yeah.
You realize that eventually this results in us destroying the internet so no one can send us questions.
Yes.
Right? We have to fulfill this promise we made that we'll answer all the questions. Stop the questions.
Stop the questions. This feels like a good time to say, I remember after our first few episodes, I don't know what it was, 4 or 5 years ago, and I thought, yeah, we'll probably do 2 or 3 of these episodes and we'll run out of things to answer.
Yep. Look at how far we've come. Now we're plotting to blow up the ocean so we can stop the inflow of questions to catch up.
Stop.
We've made it.
Nothing Jamison said should encourage you not to ask that question you've been thinking. So please ask the question. We still want it, even though we are going to have to boil the ocean to answer it.
All right. Thanks for listening. We'll catch you next week.